I think we're good. Just got to figure out how to videotape it. Let's see. Where can we get a good shot? Let's do that, maybe. Let's try that. Maybe. Should be alright. Alright, pizza dough. Made it actually kind of an experiment. This was frozen dough from like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Semolina flour to dust the dough with. Got our cheese. Sauce, simple, 2 ingredients. Is going to be tomatoes, salt. We'll mix that up. Last thing, oregano, dried oregano, New York style pizza. Let's see what we got here. Oven's been on for, what, 2 hours, 3 hours? 550, stone in it, on convection for my oven is how it comes out best. Let's do this, make the sauce first. These are the tomatoes I prefer. Have to get them online, they don't have them anywhere near me. And it's as simple as tomatoes, pinch of salt, and mix it up. To that, just add a little bit of olive oil. And that is quite literally it for the sauce. All right. Dough. So this has been out from the freezer overnight and then on the counter for a few hours, hoping that I can get it brought back to life here. We're just going to dust it in the semolina. There's some semolina on the counter. Put the top down into the semolina. Press out your crust. You can see there's a lot of air in there still, so that's good. I also think this is one of my pan pizza doughs. So a little bit more than normal. Generally, for just a 16-inch pizza, you're going to use 16 ounces of dough. Again, we're just going to push this out. Keep our crust. You don't want to push the air out of the crust for me personally. But out of the base you will. Nothing, James, I know nothing about it. If we're being honest. Alright, we're just going to stretch it. Again, we got a lot of extra dough here. A little over fermented because we froze it. Things like that. But just brush out the extra semolina. We don't need that anymore. Let's get her down. Okay. I have a 16-inch grate that I use for the house. A, helps me size it. B, helps me get it into the oven on the stone, because the stones are almost they're exactly 16 inches, so I want it to be as big as possible without spilling over and making a mess in the oven. And we can get a little more out of it this way. So again, this probably could have made like an 18-inch pizza, to be honest. Probably a little too much dough for this application to be as thin as I like. But we'll still get a decent pizza out of it. Okay. Not heavy. Not heavy. Especially when you're making a New York pizza. I mean, it depends on what kind of pizza you're making. So for something like this, where because it's a little more dough, we're going to have a little thicker crust at the moment. But normally, if I'm trying to do my normal New York, where we're doing exactly the right dough weight for my 16-inch pie for the house, you don't sauce heavy because it's a thinner crust. So you put too much sauce on a thin crust and it gets soggy. So you don't want to do that. So probably on a 16, we'll start with 2 ladles, see where that gets me. Probably going for another half ladle. Push that out to the corners. I like to get a little on the crust. That's up to you though. Like that little kind of burnt, not burnt, but charred kind of caramelized tomato taste. And so basic, we're gonna do 2 things now. I don't add anything but salt to the sauce. We're gonna go oregano over lightly. Then behind my camera, hopefully without messing up my phone, or not, we got some Parmesan cheese, okay? Parmesan cheese down. You can be generous with it, I like it. Deep dish pie, I mean, deep dish pie is gonna be the same kind of concept. It's just dough weight differences and maybe fermentation time. So for me, I know Sicilian pie, which is the square pizzas, the thick square pizzas. And Sicilian pie is quite literally the same dough, same ingredients, same process. But we go ahead and we let it sit longer in the pan that it's gonna cook in with olive oil at the bottom. The longer it's allowed to rise and get air into that, the more fluffy it is at the end product. So cheese-wise, you don't want to go too heavy with that either. Just because, again, you want to mix nicely. You don't want too much cheese where it pulls right off the pie. I know you've been there. I know you've seen it. I know it. I know you had that slice. And you don't want too much sauce either where it slides off the pie either. So by no means am I grading this on my normal scale just because we're throwing it together, but there are things you don't want. So for the home oven, let's get this going here. Okay, home oven. Shoo, looks pretty good, right?